Hey everybody, Erin here, Style So Me, and I want to thank you for your purchase of the Madison cardigan. Today we're going to get into the sew along for this pattern. In this video, I'm not going to follow the construction steps, the traditional steps in the illustration and instruction book. I'm actually going to show you a more efficient way to make your cardigan so that you're not going back and forth to your pinning table and your sewing machine. I also want to note when you are doing this pattern to make note of your fabric and your thread choice. Because of the drape of this, you will see some inside stitching here when you're wearing it. So make sure that you choose a thread that is flattering for your fabric. So go ahead and cut out the pieces according to your instruction book, and let's get started. So we're going to start with the back piece here, and we're going to grab our side back pieces. And with the right side of your fabric facing you, for your back piece, you're going to lay your side back on top of it. On your side back, the wrong side of the fabric should be facing you, and that's what we mean by right sides facing. So this is the right side of your side back, and this is the right side of your back piece. And you're just going to pin them together all the way along this long side. So we're going to pin this together, and we're also going to pin the other side of our side back to the back piece. And when we go to the sewing machine, we're going to sew our stay stitching here, and then we're going to sew all the way down the side. So the reason that we're doing it like this is so we don't have to go sew our stay stitch, then come back to the table and pin one side, then go sew that, and then come back and pin the other side and go sew that. So we're going to pin as much as we can, and then we're going to sew as much as we can, and then we're going to press as much as we can. This helps you sew faster, and it makes you be more efficient. So now that I've got this side pinned, I'm going to lay my other piece down, right side facing, and I'm going to pin. So right now we've got the back of our cardigan pinned together. I'm going to move that to the side, and then I'm going to work on the sleeves. I'm going to pin those together as well, because we can take those to the sewing machine with the back and sew all of that at the same time. So go ahead and grab your undersleeve and your sleeve. I like to flip these over right in front of me, especially when the fabric is the same on both sides. And I like to flip it over so that I don't sew something on backwards and then I end up with two of the same sleeve pieces, and then you're just thrown off. So this is the right side of my sleeve, and I'm going to grab my undersleeve pieces. Right sides facing, I'm going to lay them where they go. And then you go ahead and pin those. Okay, so now we've got a lot of seams pinned, and so now we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew straight down on both sides of our sleeves and on both sides of the back of our cardigan. So let's go to the sewing machine. So place your sewing machine on the proper stitch according to the fabric that you want, and I'm going to start with my sleeves. And all of the sewing for the Madison cardigan is a 1/2 inch seam allowance unless otherwise noted. So now we've got the back put together, and we're going to go ahead and stay stitch this back neckline. Doesn't matter if you do it first or not, because I think in the instruction booklet to stay stitch is first, but it's perfectly fine if you want to do it this way because we're only stitching the neckline. So for stay stitching, we're going to start from this outside corner here within the seam allowance. So we're going to do maybe 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and we're going to stitch one single stitch from the outside to the center, and then we're going to stop. And then we're going to move to the other side and we're going to stitch from the outside and meet up in the center. The reason we're doing the stay stitching is because when we have something that's drapey and that's stretchy, that's hanging across such a high stress point like the shoulders and neckline, we don't want it to kind of stretch and get, you know, loose over time. So that's why you want to put that that stitch right there to keep it in place and keep it stabilized. So I'm going to start from this side within the seam allowance 3/8 of an inch and stitch one seam and stop here in the middle. So I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. I'm going to start from the outside edge and meet up in the middle. So before we go to the ironing board, there's another stitch that we can do. Again, we want to make this process efficient. So on our sleeve, we've sewn one side of the sleeve. We can go ahead and close that sleeve up and sew the remaining two sides together. And then when we're finished, we'll have a finished sleeve. Then we can take all of these pieces to the ironing board and press them all flat at the same time. So now that I've got both sides of my sleeve, the main sleeve and the undersleeve sewn together, we've got a full sleeve all done. And so now I'm just going to repeat that on the remaining sleeve. This is just the bottom of the sleeve here. So now we've got two full sleeves done. We have got the back of our cardigan done. So what you can do is take your scissors, snip off these extra threads, and go to your ironing board and press all of these seam allowances. Okay, so now we've got the back of our cardigan looking good. I did not press my seam allowances. This is just a practice version. Fun fact, I actually cannot wear something where the thread does not match the fabric. I have a thing about it. I can't do it. So this piece will be just a demonstration. So your back is done. Our sleeves are done. So we can start on the front of our cardigan. So I'm laying out my back, right sides up. I'm straightening it out. I'm gonna move these sleeves out of the way. And right side facing, we're gonna grab one of our fronts and lay it on top. And we're gonna pin at the shoulder, right up here. And we're gonna pin all along the side seam. I'm gonna start from the bottom. And again, keeping efficiency in mind, we've got one side pinned and we're gonna go ahead and pin the other side. So now that we've got both sides of our cardigan pinned, we're gonna go ahead and stitch both sides and the shoulder seams. So you can start on the hem of one side, stitch all the way up, across the shoulder, and then back down to the other side. So starting from the bottom of one side, I'm gonna start to stitch. and then back down the side seam. I'll put my pins in upside down. And now we're going to add our sleeves to our cardigan. So I've got my cardigan here on my dress form with the wrong sides out. I've got my sleeve here with it right sides out. And I'm going to stick my sleeve inside of the armhole, matching my seam for my undersleeve with my side seam, and I'm going to pin it. And you've got your notches there to follow along as well. You've got a notch right there. And that helps you to know which sleeve goes on what side, because you just can't put any sleeve on willy-nilly or it's not going to lay right. And just pin it on. If you don't have a dress form, that's totally fine, but it really helps to kind of spread your sleeve out as much as possible with your armhole so that you can align everything properly. Because your sleeve cap is a little bit bigger than your armhole, just for some comfort and ease of movement. So I like to match my notches first, and then I just kind of lightly stretch everything evenly to fit into that armhole. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch all the way around. So we've got one armhole done. Go ahead and do the other. Okay, so now that that's done, go ahead and grab your sleeves. You're going to turn down a 1/2 inch on your sleeves. Give it a press to make it look really nice, and you can go ahead and hem that. Okay, so we're back and we've got the cardigan put together. Because of the drape and the way this is curved along the bias of the fabric, it's a really good idea to let this cardigan just hang. You can put it on your dress form, you can just put it up on a hanger and hang it on your closet or on a door and just let it hang for about a day. It just really helps the fabric to get settled. And so when you go to hem it, then it'll be even. This is just a good practice to have. I have personally hemmed garments before I let them hang, and over time I did not notice anything that would make me concerned, but technically speaking, it's a good idea to go ahead and do that. So if you're not in a rush, just go ahead and hang it up, let it hang, and then come back and press it under the 1/2 inch all the way around, and you're going to hem all the way around the cardigan. Okay, 1/2 inch. And that's it. Once you're done with the hemming of your cardigan, then you can wear her and enjoy her. And make sure that you post your looks on Facebook in the Facebook group. I'll put a link below. Tag me on Instagram. Use the hashtag StyleSewMePatterns. And just let me know how you are rocking Madison Cardigan. So I cannot wait to see your looks, and I'll see you later. Bye.